What is good, everyone? Welcome to the Fantasy Football Prodigy channel, and football is finally here. It is week 1. We did already have the Thursday game, which was great. We just put our foot in the water with a little bit of fantasy football right there, but now this is our first Sunday. The main course is here, and man, am I excited. I've been waiting for fantasy football and football in general for quite a while, and with everything that's going on in the world right now, we could really use a little bit of football in our lives. And yeah, we're going to get into just setting some lineups in this video. So I don't really know how you guys feel about this idea, but I think it would be kind of cool if on this channel, I did a few videos like a week, maybe like 1 or 2 a week, I'm not really sure, just kind of going through what I'm doing with my leagues, because you see these fantasy football people and they put out good videos, but a lot of times you don't really see behind the scenes of what they're doing in their own leagues. So I think that'd be cool if I kind of showed you guys what I'm doing in terms of like, I don't know, like waiver wires, lineup decisions, trading, stuff like that. And the good thing about me, I guess, my fantasy experience that I'm currently in right now is I'm in a standard league, non-PPR. I'm in a 2-quarterback league that's half PPR. And I'm also in a dynasty league, which is half PPR. So you got a little bit of everything there, a little bit of 2-quarterback, different scoring formats, all that good stuff, kicker and non-kicker. So, yeah, I think just to start things off, all I'm going to do is just set my lineup for today. Nothing too crazy. Just make a few adjustments, and yeah, we'll go from there. But as you can see on the screen, guys, make sure to subscribe to the channel for some more fantasy football goodness. And yeah, let's take a look at my lineups here. So we're actually going to start with this team over here, the Bungling Buffaloes. This is a 1-quarterback standard league non-PPR. So as you can see, I had Will Fuller play on Thursday night. He had himself 112 yards, so that's only 11, well, not only 11.2. I just say only because in PPR, he'd get points for the catches, but because this is non-PPR, he only gets points for his yardage, but he still had a nice game, 11.2 points. Obviously, that's not too bad. And another thing I want to point out is that I put him in a wide receiver spot and not my flex. Obviously, Chris Godwin, I would prioritize in terms of who I want to play over Will Fuller, but because Will Fuller played on Thursday, I put him in my wide receiver spot because he was my first player that is on my team that was playing a game. And then from there, Tyler Lockett plays on noon on Sunday, or at noon on Sunday, not on noon. And then Chris Godwin plays at 3:25 p.m. on Sunday. So by doing this gives me more flexibility with my lineup. So let's say Chris Godwin is out with an injury, but I put Will Fuller in at the flex, and Chris Godwin is at my wide receiver spot. That means that if I need to replace Chris Godwin and my flex spot is already taken, I have to replace Will Fuller, or excuse me, I would have to replace Chris Godwin with another wide receiver. Whereas if he's in my flex, I can replace him with a wide receiver or a running back or even a tight end if I thought that is what is best for my team. You guys probably already know that already, but it's just a little tip that I like to give out because it's just a small thing that, you know, at the end of the week, it can really help you out if you have like a running back you want to play in your flex over a wide receiver or something like that, but you don't have that flexibility because you put the wrong guy in your flex too early in the week. So with that being said, guys, there's not really much to change about this lineup. Obviously, I'm keeping these running backs in there. Drew Brees is my quarterback. I'm not going to play Daniel Jones over him. Zach Ertz is my tight end. And if you're wondering why I have 2 quarterbacks and 3 tight ends, honestly, I don't normally do that, but we expanded our benches this year because of the potential for people missing games for reasons other than injury. And just the value, I guess. I wouldn't normally do it, but I just decided to do it. David Montgomery, it's looking like he's going to play, but I'm not going to play him over anyone else that's in this lineup here. So yeah, I think this is looking pretty good. We're starting the Philly defense at Washington. So nothing too wild right there. So let's go on to our 2-quarterback league now. This is a half PPR league. It's also a 3 wide receiver league. I forgot to mention that as well. 2 running backs and 1 flex, okay? So and 1 tight end. 1 tight end. Did I cover everything? I think I did. So when we look at the quarterbacks here, we got Matt Ryan, Kyler Murray, Jared Goff, and I guess Mitchell Trubisky. I'm not playing Mitch Trubisky. I just picked him up because it's a 2-quarterback league. I heard he's probably going to start, and quarterbacks have good value in 2-quarterback leagues. So if he has a good game, I'll probably trade him. But with that being said, right now I have Matt Ryan in against Seattle, Kyler Murray at San Francisco. And you might think, you know, at San Francisco, that's a tough matchup, which it is. But to be honest with you guys, Kyler Murray, he has a floor with his rushing ability. And honestly, the matchup doesn't really scare me because of that. Plus, defenses tend to not repeat dominance year after year. So they might still have a good defense, but they might give up a few more touchdowns here and there. And that can really be the difference. So Kyler Murray, to me, I'm just going to play him. I'm not going to put Jared Goff in there or anything like that. Running backs, I kind of went not necessarily zero running back, but I really focused on my wide receivers in this league. This was actually an auction draft as well. I got Melvin Gordon for only $11 on a $200 budget. So I don't love Melvin Gordon this year, but at that price, I could not pass it up. And then James Conner, if he stays healthy, I got him for $20 on a $200 budget. So that's actually really good. So those are my running backs. I'm starting at my 1 and 2 spot. Melvin Gordon, he has a tough matchup against Tennessee, but I don't feel good about starting Cohen, Carrion, or Sony, even though Sony should be starting that game against Miami. I still think I would stick with Melvin Gordon. I checked to see if Boston Scott was available in this league, and he is not. He is someone that I would consider starting over Melvin Gordon, especially because Melvin Gordon has a tough matchup with Tennessee, and it's looking like he's going to split a lot of work with Phillip Lindsay. So I probably would start Boston Scott over Gordon if I could, but he's not available, so it is what it is. Our running backs are set, and then this is where things get really, really interesting this week for me, guys, is my wide receivers. So I already started Tyreek Hill week 1. He got in the end zone, so that kind of bailed him out. Otherwise, he didn't have that great of a game. But notice how I didn't put him in the flex spot, right? Because that gives me more flexibility. If I want to put a running back there later in the week, I can still do that. I'm not going to do that, but, just hypothetically. So moving forward, we got Calvin Ridley versus Seattle, DJ Moore versus the Las Vegas Raiders. We got Amari Cooper at the LA Rams, and we have Allen Robinson at the Detroit Lions. Those are all our receivers on the team, actually. So we're just deciding between that. Right now, I have Allen Robinson on the bench, but I'm not loving the matchup for Amari Cooper. I'm not saying Amari Cooper is an automatic sit, but if you look at my team, I have some of the best receivers in the league on my team, and Allen Robinson isn't very flashy, but in a matchup against Detroit, I don't mind that. I really don't. He showed that he can produce with a bad quarterback multiple times throughout his career, and I think he's going to have a decent game. I think I'm going to put him in instead of Amari Cooper, and there's 2 reasons for that. One is Amari Cooper has a pretty bad matchup, honestly, with the Rams. They have a good secondary. They have Jalen Ramsey. I couldn't remember his name. Jalen Ramsey is a cornerback for the Rams. He's very good. He's probably going to cover him a lot of the game, and I don't like that matchup at all. Amari Cooper is prone to bust games, so this is always risky sitting Amari Cooper because he could have that big blow-up game on your bench, which would be terrible. But the second reason that I'm sitting him in this league is because I do have him in another league. So as long as I'm starting him in one, I can live with it if he goes off in one league and not the other. It's just with my available options, it would just be foolish of me really to just sit Allen Robinson in a good matchup. I could sit Calvin Ridley or DJ Moore, but I like their matchups too. I don't know. There's just less risk. And because I know that Tyreek Hill got out to that good start, 13.1 points, I'm just going to play a little bit safe and stick with Allen Robinson. And I did move Allen Robinson to the flex. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm checking, do any of my other receivers play later than noon? No, they do not. But let's say DJ Moore played at 3:25 or Sunday night. I would move him to the flex. So then all of a sudden, if DJ Moore is out, I can pivot to another quarter. No one would work. I could pivot to Tyler Higbee or something like that. You know what I mean? Obviously, that wouldn't be ideal, but you get what I'm saying, right? So this league is looking pretty good. We got Zach Ertz at tight end. Dude, I got Zach Ertz for $7 in a $200 auction league. So that's like $3.50 in a $100 league. Quick math, right? So I think we're good with this 2 quarterback, half PPR league. Next, let's move on to this 1 quarterback, 2 running back, 3 wide receiver, 2 flex league. We also play a defense. I think we covered everything. Yeah. So I already played CEH. He had a good game, almost 20 fantasy points. And I wish I would have left it so I could actually make the change with you guys. But I did have Miles Sanders in my starting lineup. He was a running back for me, but I had to put him on the bench. Here he is down here. He is out with an injury, as I already mentioned, making Boston Scott a very good play this week. So I moved James Conner to my starting running back spot, and I put in Marvin Jones at the wide receiver spot. So as of now, I got Cam at quarterback, James Conner at running back, already started Clyde, and then on my wide receiver and flex spots, I have Marvin Jones, DeAndre Hopkins, Chris Godwin, Amari Cooper, and Courtland Sutton. And also, this is a Dynasty League. I can't remember if I mentioned that or not. This is Dynasty, 10 teams. Oh, I probably should have mentioned this. This league right here, 12 teams. This one, I believe, is 10. And then this one is 10. Okay? So, yeah. George Kittle's in at tight end. My defensive options are the Bears against Detroit or the Chargers against Cincinnati. I love Joe Burrow. I think he's going to be great. But in his first game in a wonky offseason against a good Chargers defense, I would much rather play the Chargers over the Bears. So where things get a little tricky is we'll start with the quarterback. We got Cam Newton against Miami. That's a good matchup for him. My other options would be Tyrod Taylor at Cincinnati, Kirk Cousins, Skull Vikings versus Green Bay, and then Mitch Trubisky at Detroit. So to me, I actually like Tyrod Taylor and Kirk Cousins. I think the Vikings are going to run the ball a lot this year, but Kirk Cousins, he's a decent enough quarterback statistically. I think he'll have some good games. But Tyrod Taylor also this week, I think at Cincinnati, I think he presents a decent floor because he is capable of running the ball and he has some good weapons around him. He's got Austin Eckler, Keenan Allen, Hunter Henry. So I think Tyrod Taylor will have a good game as well. But Cam Newton is the guy who I am going to stick with in a good matchup against Miami. He also has rushing ability. There's been times in the past where he has limited, the times that he's been rushing, whether it's due to injury or just self-preservation. It's hard to say. I hope he at least runs a little bit in this game, and it's a good matchup. I think Cam Newton is the play here. James Conner, to me, it's a no-brainer. Monday night at New York, I'm going to play him. I also do have Anthony McFarland, just in case for whatever reason, if he did miss that game, he's on my taxi squad. I can promote him, and he can fill that spot. Looking at the wide receivers now, I put Marvin Jones in there, like I said, because Miles Sanders is out with an injury. So then we got Hopkins, Chris Godwin, and then I have Amari Cooper and Courtland Sutton in my flex spots because they have the later games. Amari Cooper Sunday night at Los Angeles Rams. Monday night, Courtland Sutton versus Tennessee Titans. So, like I said, when we were looking at this team over here where I benched Amari Cooper, I'm actually going to play Amari Cooper in this league because he is, one of my better options. I don't have a lot to replace him with, especially with the injuries that have hit my team with, Miles Sanders and with Deebo Samuel on IR. So I'm a little bit limited, but my team is still looking pretty good. Anyways, moving on. I think the only question for me, guys, is this. Cortland Sutton, if you read this here, it says he's truly questionable for Monday's game. The key word there was two keywords. Three keywords. The first one would be Monday. He plays on Monday. So if he's out, I'm limited with who I can replace him with. Questionable, he might not play. And truly questionable, right? That means that, he's actually questionable. He might not play. And it's a tough matchup as it is against Tennessee. It's going to be, they have a decent defense. It's going to be a slow pace. I don't project it to be a high-scoring game, right? So with that being said, I have to look to pivot and see if I have better options. So the first thing I'm going to notice is I do have Jerry Jeudy. He was one of my first-round picks this year. Got him pretty late. Kind of a steal. No big deal. He plays in the same game, obviously. So if he were to not play Courtland Sutton, I could put in Jerry Jeudy, but his first game of his career against a tough Tennessee defense, I'm not sure if I really, really like that necessarily. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. I have Hayden Hurst, who I don't like to start a tight end at the flex, but given the situation, it's something to consider. He's been kind of hyped up. He should be the Falcons' tight end one in a decent matchup against Seattle. But you know what, guys? Even though he's not projected to be the starter, I kind of like Jonathan Taylor. I really think that even though Marlon Mack is projected to be the starter, I think there's a couple factors at play here. One, the Jacksonville Jaguars are gonna be terrible this year. When I look at a team, people say, "Oh, they're not gonna win a game." I'm usually like, they'll probably win one or two. When I look at Jacksonville, they're gonna need some players to step up. Let's just leave it at that. And this is not the same Jaguars team that went to the AFC Championship game. This is a completely different team, especially on defense, guys. Their defense has been dismantled. There is nothing good about it. Like, bad defense. Unless some miracle happens, they're going to have a bad defense this year. So Jonathan Taylor in his first game, I don't think he needs a lot of work to have a good game against Jacksonville. It looks like showers. That it says there's going to be showers. That's one thing to monitor here. I don't know what that means. I'll have to check the weather closer to game time. So this might not be final. If it's like a thunder torrential downpour, I might go with the Courtland Sutton, Jeudy option. But as of now, I'm thinking Jonathan Taylor because, like I said, I think he'll get a decent amount of work. It's a bad defense that he's playing, as in it's a good matchup. And then even though Marlon Mack is the starter, I project the Colts to run away with this game, be up early and often. And even if, he's in that backup role, I think, Marlon Mack, even if he gets the bulk of the carries early in the game, Jonathan Taylor is going to get carries to close out the game. I really do believe that he is going to have a decent workload and that he doesn't even need like 20 touches to have a good game against this team because their defense is just atrocious. So I think what I'm going to do is I honestly think, how do I even do this? This Flea Flicker website is a little hard to maneuver sometimes. There we go. Courtland Sutton to the bench. And we're going to put Jonathan Taylor in at the flex position. So as you can see now, I have to save it, right? Save lineup. There we go. Okay, so let's check out our starting lineup now. So now we have Jonathan Taylor up here in the flex. So again, as I mentioned a few times in this video, sorry if you guys already know to do this, but I just want to say it for the people who do not know. James Conner is in at my running back spot. He's a running back that plays Monday night. Jonathan Taylor is in my flex spot. He's a running back that plays at noon. So what I want to do here, okay, this website is crazy. So basically, I want to put James Conner in at my flex spot because he plays later. I want to put Jonathan Taylor in at running back. So let's take a look here. I'll show you guys what I mean. So now Jonathan Taylor is in as my running back. And you can see James Conner is in as my flex. Yeah, so these are my 3 starting lineups for the week. I think I'm looking pretty good across the board. Obviously, week 1 is the hardest week to project. You never know what's going to happen. But I like this team. Good quarterback, good running backs. Off to a good start with Will Fuller, who was my flex, even though he's in my wide receiver spot. And my best players are still to come, you know what I'm saying? And moving to this league right here, we got 2 solid quarterbacks. Running backs, not the greatest, but I think especially James Conner, I think he can have a good game. Melvin Gordon could fall into the end zone. You never know. And wide receivers are stacked. And we got Zach Ertz as well, who has a very good matchup against the Washington football team. And then here is my Dynasty League, half PPR league. I'm starting Cam Newton at quarterback. I already played Clyde. I got Jonathan Taylor and James Conner as my other 2 running backs. And then wide receiver, I got Marvin Jones, Hopkins, Godwin, and Amari Cooper. And then tight end, I got George Kittle, one of the best in the game. And I got a good defense in the Chargers and a decent matchup against the Bengals. So yeah, I think this is going to do it for me setting my lineup on Sunday morning. Let me know what you guys think. Again, I might change this Jonathan Taylor thing because of the weather. I don't know if it's going to be, I don't know what the weather is going to be like. I'm not going to lie. I'll have to look into that. But if it's going to be like enough where, you don't want to play anyone in that offense, I might, like I said, put Courtland Sutton in there. And then if Sutton is indeed out on Monday, I'll just go with Jeudy. I think that is my best option. But yeah, I feel like this will be kind of fun to just keep you guys updated on my league. You guys can take some things from it, get a little behind the scenes of what I am doing instead of me just like spewing like, tidbits of information. You can actually see me going through the process of what I'm thinking. And then, if you guys like this kind of idea, we can do some waiver wire stuff as well. I'll let you guys know what sort of trades I'm making, see if you want to copy what I'm doing or see if you think I'm an absolute idiot. Because really, a lot of this is luck. You can just kind of make your best guess and hope and pray that your guy does well. So yeah, guys, that is pretty much going to do this video. Thank you guys for watching. Really excited for week 1 of fantasy football. I wish you all the best of luck in week 1. And yeah, make sure to drop a like on the video and make sure to subscribe to the channel for more fantasy football content. And I'll see you guys later. Be a prodigy.